Hello, Internet. My name's Sean, and I'm the host of the upcoming Virtually Playable podcast. In that podcast, we talk about virtual reality and especially all the new and exciting experiences that are being developed out there to help keep developers motivated and also find people to play their games. This is a little bit like a behind the scenes video in which I'll just talk about my progress as the host and the creator, how I'm going about creating this podcast. And I plan to do this every week. So, introducing myself, my name's Sean Norton and I live in Melbourne, Australia. And I'm 32 years old. And I found out about virtual reality about almost 2 years ago, and got a HTC Vive last year, and a Quest a couple of months ago. So I've also for about a year and a half now been using Unity to create sort of magical not really games, but I didn't get to a game that you could play really. But I enjoyed creating sort of unique interactions like telekinesis or like things that feel like superpowers, basically, because that's what I really love about virtual reality. And so yeah, welcome, and this is a bit like a test run for the podcast, I suppose, because this is the first thing that I'm recording for it. I've done live streaming before in playing games, and like I already had some equipment on hand because I've been a bit of a digital creator for many years now, and this Rode Podcaster microphone, I basically have had it lying around for about 10 years. And because I was part of a podcast for an online game a while ago, and it's great to actually start using it. So yeah, again, my name's Sean, and let's just sort of move along, and explain why I'm here. What this podcast will be aimed at, it'll be who it's for. It'll be aimed at the developers who are on the verge of having a prototype or early access, an alpha, playable demo, anything that's, the goal of it is to get people motivated to keep putting out builds and getting players testing it, giving feedback, and so on. Because I'm of the opinion, basically, that virtual reality is fantastic. One day, with the VR, AR sort of convergence, I think that games will be a huge part of everyday life. Sorry about that. And basically, like, VR in its current generation has been around since roughly 2016, and the number one game is Beat Saber. Basically, I think Beat Saber is a great game, but the fact that the new hardware launched and Oculus is using it as a promotion, it's not deep. It's like, well, it's not for me anyway. Everyone has their own opinion. But for me, Beat Saber doesn't cut it. And I think of it like, if you ask people what's their top games, pretty much everyone gives the same answer. It's Beat Saber, Super Hot, and Robo Recall, probably, or maybe Moss if they're into more stories. And then if they're shooters, they might say like Pavlov. But basically, like, I think back to this thing, which is my Game Boy from, I think I got it around 92. The first gaming device I ever had. And I've still got Tetris there. I lost the back there because my dad bought me an adapter, and that meant that I never used batteries with this. Still works. Anyway, basically, why I'm mentioning this is, and why I'm using this sound for my podcast. Sorry if that was a bit loud. Because we're at the point now where we have the Quest. There may be an Apple or a Samsung device coming, and we're still playing Tetris. And I just want to help kick it along a little bit. Keep people motivated. I've sort of because I've tried Unity development. I did sort of like reach out to a few teams and offer to help, but I've got experience in running a business, and I've just finished a marketing degree, and I don't think I should be really. I'll just turn it down a little bit. I don't think I should really be trying to learn a whole new thing of programming. Like, I'm a fairly logical person, and I've had web design experience, and I've worked with JavaScript a long time ago, and PHP just so I could edit WordPress themes, and MySQL a little bit. And I definitely shouldn't be digging back into programming. That is not where I add value to the ecosystem at all. And I saw a few teams out there, and a few other solo creators, and they seemed to me like they needed input, or they needed a bit more exposure. A lot of projects have been started but not finished, and I just thought maybe this kind of a community would be great. I mean, there are a few Discord channels already, and there's a subreddit, but they're not too active. They're getting better, and I just thought maybe the part that I can play in this ecosystem is to kick them along a little bit, listen to them, facilitate communication and team building, share the resources that I already have, or things that come up, and I'll do that through a community on Discord, and by doing this podcast. And I may use this video as my first, episode 0 or something. But so the name of the podcast is Virtually Playable, and the reason that I gave it that name was I brainstormed over the weekend. I almost went with something like Vector, but that's really generic and really hard to do searches for, because I thought Vector would be interesting because if I branch into marketing, then Vector is like another word for channel. But anyway, I went with Virtually Playable, and the reason being is that it has the word virtual, which is kind of a prerequisite for anything in this space. You basically have to start with V, or replace a random letter with V. And once I had virtually, I thought, well, playable. Yeah, it's a long name, but it captures the essence of what this community and podcast is all about. What I'm all about is just get it done. Get that game out there, get people playing it, get some feedback, get some hype, and do it. Because we're still sitting on Tetris. We haven't even got, we haven't got Mario yet, right? There's no Halo yet. There's no Mario. There's no Zelda. We've got to push it along more. And maybe I can't reach out to the huge studios, but if there's solo developers out there, then I'm really, really just happy to support you, listen to what you say, and help connect you with the people you need to get connected with. And there's and the name also appeals because virtually it contains the word ally, which is that's what I'm doing. I just want to support you and support the industry, and at the end of the day, really, really get awesome experiences into the hands of consumers. Me personally, the type of game I was making was something like Magic, like a magical combat, multiplayer combat, way too big for a solo dev who doesn't want to do programming. But I really think that there's heaps to be gained from virtual reality in the future, and yeah, I'm doing my part. So, what you'll get from it, I think, if you join is I'm going to run sort of like programs, sort of like workshops, and like sort of keep a schedule and book appointments with people who join. There's no fees involved. This is all totally free. I'm just doing this for the passion of the industry. In a way, I think the saying is, if you can't, those who can't do, teach. Well, I can't even teach. So those who can't do, those who can't teach, maybe it's those who just help a little bit, and that's me. And I'm just totally open and honest about everything, really. I've done a lot of different jobs in the past and dropped out of a lot of different uni degrees. And yeah. So progress on the podcast so far is that I've figured out my name, and the audience. There's two audiences mainly. Small developers, small teams, or solo developers, people who are very interested in VR, who are trying new things, and they want to get more people playing what they make. That's the first audience. And the second audience is the people who are interested in trying new games. They don't make them, but they just want to try new things. Like, I know that there's Steam Early Access, which is like a bit too formal and a bit of a hurdle to get that going. There's also the itch store, and there's a lot of flat games on there. And if you did a search for the VR tag, it's really hard to know, like, how old are they? Are they good enough? Like is this just like, it's really, really hard to look at the itch VR tag and know what you should try next. But if in this podcast and community, if I help say, like, oh, this week we're going to focus on a particular dev's game or build, help facilitate the type of feedback that they're looking for, then people who are interested in those things, they come to this community and they can kind of trust that the builds we're recommending, they work. Load it on SideQuest or on your Vive or Rift, and it will work. Maybe it's only virtually playable, barely playable. So yeah, that's the core of the podcast. And potentially in future, I could see that virtually could be the brand that I go with for anything in future, whether that's consulting or marketing or just keeping this sort of podcast media production ongoing. Part of the spark for this direction, not only have I struggled with creating games myself, I came to terms with the idea that earning a living from virtual reality is really difficult right now. Even if I was a good dev, it's really hard. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to continue my day job, and if I can get a better job, like, that's good. If I can get a job in the industry, that's good. But just coming to terms with that fact that I don't need to find the quick money in VR. And it's okay, in the meantime, to just make friends and help people. That's what I'm here for. That's pretty much all I want. Yeah, and that feels good, actually, saying that, because I've had pressure around me from my partner and some family members to, if I'm going to invest anything, like even equipment or, time, late nights in VR, in some kind of side project, well, they expect some return. They expect me to be earning money from it or progressing my career. Yeah, but just feeling comfortable with the fact that it's totally fine to create a podcast. Just like it's fine if you enjoy creating VR experiences that people can play and try and feel something new. Feel free to do it. It's like today I thought of the phrase, they say fake it till you make it, right? Well, I don't believe in that here. Virtually Playable is make it until you make it. So we want to play the build. We want to see you building things that people can download, right? Make it until you make it. And that like, yeah. So that's one of the sparks for it, is that even if I'm still applying for jobs to get out of my day job, it's probably not going to be VR. So stop looking for money in VR, right? The other thing is that when I was looking around at jobs, I saw jobs at Oculus and Apple and Magic Leap and so on. And one of them was, there's two jobs. One is content strategy, which is connecting with big studios and sort of rationalizing a strategy for Oculus to invest in particular games and genres. And the other one was developer relations. So potentially in future, that's the kind of job I'd be interested in. So yeah, if this podcast goes well, then this will be experience that I need to get a job like that, so that I can keep helping everyone and get some awesome games into the hands and vision of people, millions of people, a billion people, as Zuckerberg says. So yeah, that was the second spark, and the third spark is that this week I have become a fan of Gary Vee. Right, not in like a fanboy way, but Gary Vee, if you don't know, he's a business owner, who an entrepreneur who early in the days of the internet started e-commerce with a wine store, and now he's into marketing agency, a few other businesses, and he talks a lot. He does podcasts. He's always telling people to do podcasts. It's like the thing that you do to create audience, to deliver value. And it's so easy to start. Me, with my hardware, I figured I should definitely do it. And yeah. So when's the podcast starting? The progress this week is that I've just decided the name. I've just designed a logo, printed and cut out that, because it's virtually a logo, just print it on paper, whatever. And registered all the socials, which is Virtually HQ. Sorry. my partner's living in Vietnam for the last few months, so yeah, sometimes I might get those messages pop up. I registered the socials, which there's heaps out there now, and they're all virtually HQ, right? And the podcast name is Virtually Playable. And what else have I done? I created that little blip. I'll just play it again. Here we go. So that's the sound of a hammer, and then the Game Boy sound. I thought it was cute. It's not perfect, and that's just something that I think that is a good idea for a podcast. And Gary Vee recommends it as well. Done that. I've done OBS Studio before, so that was quick and easy to set up this video recording. What else have I done? I'm going to meet Gary Vee next week. He's coming to Melbourne, so well, I'm not meeting him, but I'm listening to him. I'd love to meet him. I sent him an email, and I did copy the text, but I didn't paste it anywhere. So basically, I sent Gary Vee a message just saying, like, if he wants to buy the jets in 25 years, he said he's going to do it through VR. Well, if he needs a sidekick, I'm here. I'll move to New York. No worries. I will be the person who finds Nintendo the next Nintendo. Whatever. Well, he's just so he gets it, right? My God. Okay, so this video, I'll wrap it up. I do tend to ramble a bit. It's gonna probably be good. I mean, maybe it may be good for the podcast if I tighten up a little bit, but I don't think I have an issue with time going too short. I've been recording personal videos for about the last year. I didn't post any. I just keep them locally on my hard drive, but this one will be posted online. In a playlist, I suppose. Yeah, so done that. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to meet Gary Vee, and I thought, because I have a cute little the little guy there, that little face, which is based on a Lego face. I like it. It's simple. It's happy. It's VR. So I've ordered a T-shirt. I don't think it'll come in time, but I like T-shirts. There's something that I've been thinking is that I never feel comfortable wearing a design T-shirt. In the last 5 years, I've only worn plain T-shirts or T-shirts that I designed. And the reason is I don't get it, especially logos of other companies. I'm not a fan that way. I'll have Nike on my sneakers, not on my shirt, thanks. But I'll wear my own logo. Yeah, minimal. I wear minimal, basically. So yeah, you'll get to know me, and I'll probably say and so a lot. And this will probably just replace my personal vlogs, I guess. At the moment I'm reading this, just started. I picked it up secondhand like a couple of months ago and forgot that I had it. And then I just saw it the other day. So reading that at the moment. Yeah. And if you don't know what that is it's from the CEO of Pixar about leading creative teams. I'm not sure how relevant that will be to running a podcast, but a lot of the people that I hope to connect with, they are creative. They are creatively creating, and maybe there's something I can learn from that. Yeah. So I don't have much else to say really. I'll be starting. This week. I'll be just setting up like templates for the podcast, figuring out how I'm going to do the video, because video is fairly simple for me. I have no issue going on video, and even live, setting up Twitch and so on. I've done it before. And actually, like, I have so many ideas for this podcast. My main challenge is figuring out what to do, what to start with, and to not to scatter myself across too many different, like, sort of programs, I suppose, segments. And so I will record an episode zero this week, something that's fairly much more scripted, I guess, because it needs to say who it's for, what's the core value, a call to action, and so on, just to really explain the podcast quickly in about 5 minutes. So that I'll be recording that episode 0 this week, figuring out what's the tagline, what's the intro script, and so on. Checking if that audio clip worked. Setting up Anchor FM, which I've registered, but I've got to make sure that the podcast will be distributed correctly. And then I've started contacting devs. There's a few devs that are interested in doing an interview. So I'll book those in and start inviting people. So I see on a daily basis people reaching out in Reddit, looking for general support or a group to join. Well, I'll start commenting and sharing the Discord channel once that episode 0 is ready, which will be probably a couple of days from now. Tomorrow I'll do the script. The day after I'll do the recording. I don't have much else to share, so better wrap it up. Thanks for watching. This is Virtually Playable. I'm Sean from Melbourne, Australia. So, look, I hope you come. I hope you watch the next one. I hope you. I hope my podcast goes well. I hope the first episode is good. If there's any feedback you have, if you want to join, I'm happy to, put some extra faces up there. If you want to join, if you're a dev or if you love testing things from itch, then just contact me. My socials are all Virtually HQ. Just get in there. Seriously, I'm not being protective of this thing at all. You're all welcome. So, thanks for watching. See ya.